have to watch a clock. I don't even have to watch a clock. I don't even have to watch a clock.
Hello, welcome to the Bold Moves podcast. This is episode number 111, and I am the host, Mandy Bryce. Today I am chatting with someone who is super fun, and if you remember Stephen Pucanza's episode, there might be a little bit of colorful language here today too. But I spoke with Jenner Linden, who is a thriving coach, and she does some different types of healing and work that sort of seems like therapy to me, but she can explain it much better. She also has done a ton of humanitarian work and philanthropy, which I thought was inspiring and impressive, and created a film festival. Lots of interesting, fun, and fascinating things. I really hope you enjoy. Please stay tuned until the end because Jenner has an amazing freebie for you, and I have to tell you how to get it. Also, make sure you check out these show notes because that is where you're going to be able to see exactly where to find Jenner. All right, without any further ado, please enjoy my chat with Jenner Linden. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Bold Moves podcast. I am with Jenner Linden. We have had some miscommunications trying to get scheduled, but we're finally here. I'm so excited to have you on. Welcome, Jenner.
Thank you so much, Mandy. I'm happy I am finally here.
Yes, we made it happen.
Yes.
Yes. So, you know, of course, that the show is called Bold Moves, and you're on it because you've made some. Why don't you tell us all a little bit about who you are, what you do, and the bold moves that you've made that got you this spot on the show?
Yeah, I love that, Bold Moves. It's so cool. It's the one thing that drew me to your podcast. It's awesome.
Thank you.
So I always talk about my journey, which really started when I was younger. I have a sister who's 7 years older than I am. Mm-hmm. And as a child, I didn't really think I had anything important to say because she did all of the talking for me. And so, you know, it would be like we'd be at the ice cream parlor and they'd ask what kind of ice cream I wanted. And she'd answer for me that I wanted strawberry or whatever it was, you know. So
Sure.
As I grew up, I just kind of kept thinking that, right? Like, I don't have anything important to say. I don't know what to say, so I'm not going to speak up and speak my voice. Sure. And it was the time I was around 29 years old. I found myself $60,000 in college loan debt, but I was still working as a waitress, and I wasn't pursuing my career or anything. It was just waitressing.
I think a lot of us can identify with that debt part at least.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and then there's nothing wrong with waitressing. It was fun, and I loved it, but it wasn't what I went to college for, right? Yeah.
Sure.
And I was also dating a guy for 3 years, and I never told him I loved him because I was afraid he was going to leave me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was real though. It was really real. I was like, oh, if I tell him, he's gonna get scared and he's gonna take off. And I mean, now it just sounds so funny, but I wasn't speaking up. I wasn't saying what I wanted. I didn't even know what I wanted, really. Mm-hmm. And that's when I really began my path of transformation. I found some different coaches that I started speaking with and aligning with, and I really started getting clear on what my limiting beliefs were. And I started stepping into my power, and it opened up a whole new world for me. And within a year, I actually raised a bunch of money, and I went to Honduras with it so I could shoot a documentary for an orphanage out there. Mm-hmm. So that would be like one of my most like awesome moments, like bold moves moments.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Something that would never have happened before. And then I also created a film festival with my husband. And actually, a funny side note is that I told my husband I loved him a month after dating.
You're like, I'm speaking up now.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm not even waiting for you to tell me. I don't even care. Love you, man.
I love that. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did that. And I've also raised over $500,000 for different nonprofits. And I worked as a business consultant working with small businesses, helping them with their branding and their vision and their mission. And so it's a lot of what I do is really about supporting people and guiding them to really live their purpose and their full lives and like speak their voice, right?
Sure.
Like, really listen to what their inner genius is and really get a hold of who they really are and speak that, because I didn't for almost 30 years of my life. And so I'm making up for it.
I can tell. What would you say brought the change of suddenly deciding to come into your own and speak up for yourself?
Yeah, it was really the people that I was working with were really helping me, because I didn't have a clue, but I knew I needed something different. And so it was really through conversations and different tools and techniques that they used. It was actually NLP, neuro-linguistic programming.
Okay.
Have you heard of that before?
I have heard of that. I don't know much about it. Can you give
Yeah.
a Cliff's Notes explanation?
Right. Yeah. It's just a really amazing way to help shift out of old limiting patterns. It really helps you do, what's the word? It's not distinguish, it's disassociate. So disassociate with maybe things that happened when you were younger. So an example would be, I have a client who was left at a park when she was like 5 years old, and they were having a huge birthday party, and, you know, she got left behind. And of course you're standing there at 5 years old, probably scared, you know, to all heck, like, why did I get left here? And so the thing she started making up about herself is, no one cares about me, I'm not wanted, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So yeah, so when we did some work with NLP, it was like, it helped kind of take away the emotions that we tie to these different things that happen to us in our lives, so that we can really figure out like what's really going on there, what really happened, and we can start putting in new beliefs.
Okay. So you now practice what you...
Yeah. Yep. So now I'm a master NLP practitioner, and yeah, so I definitely, I immediately, as soon as I like learned all these amazing things about myself, I was like, okay, I need to do this for other people. so yeah, I got trained.
That's awesome. So was it almost like a therapist, or who can become a NLP practitioner, master practitioner?
Anybody can. Yeah. You just have to do the training.
And how did you come across it?
How did I come across it?
Yeah.
Oh, the NLP stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was my sister, actually. She had been doing it with this coach, with these people, and she was telling me about it, and she's like, I think it might really help. And so then that's when I did it.
But she didn't speak for you and decide it was time, like the ice cream.
She probably did a little bit.
At least she was for sure right this time, because it doesn't.
Totally, yeah. It's not to say she isn't right or hasn't helped or anything like that. Yeah, it was. Sure. I do remember the conversation. It was kind of like, I think this would really help, and I was like, but I don't have anything wrong with my life. What are you talking about? Everything is wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. I have this great relationship with somebody I'm not speaking up with. I'm a waitress. I mean, come on, I'm gonna get better than this.
I love it. It's so interesting. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it is really funny because I have that happen with a lot of people too, where it's like we get conditioned to think that this is how life is, and this is okay, and this is just the way it is. So we don't think that there's anything else. We don't think that there's anything better. Why would we, if we haven't stepped out of our comfort zone or done something completely different, or, you know, gotten a coach or done a program or whatever it is, right? Like, it takes something to get to that next step. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was going to say something very similar, that I think a lot of the general population probably has no idea how happy they could be or how good they could feel.
Yeah.
That until something happens that changes it. Oh, I thought I was going to sneeze, but I didn't.
There it was.
There it was. Right before I pressed record, I felt like I was going to sneeze, and it didn't happen. So now I'm being haunted by this phantom sneeze. So it seems like you're doing a lot of great things, both for yourself, for other people, for the community at large, through all of these nonprofits. How would you say an average day is spent for you? Because it sounds like, similar to myself, you have your hand in a kind of a lot of different areas.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I have so many different things going on. So the very first thing I do every day is I actually get grounded, and I do yoga, and I do meditation, and I do some of my own inner work. And that's how I start, because it's so important to me to make sure I do that, because I know that once I get sitting behind the computer desk or whatever I have going on the day, it's like, it's chaotic. It's everywhere.
It's almost not yours anymore.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, exactly. So I do, I could be doing speaking engagements. I'm doing coaching. I do my coaching. I do one-on-one coaching, and I usually do it over the phone. So I do a lot of work at home. I also have a group that I run. It's called Holistic Discovery, and I have over 700 members in it. And each month I introduce a new healer to the group, and they share their gift with everybody. And it's a super fun event. And sometimes we hold it at my house, and sometimes we go to a park. But I've been doing that for the past 6 months or so. And the reason it really started is because I had done all this other stuff in the past where I did the film festival, and I went to Honduras, and I did these really great things. I really missed community because I was really doing so much work sitting behind my desk or a lot of one-on-one stuff. And so I really missed that piece. And so that's why I ended up creating the group, and it's been awesome. It's been so much fun. Every month I get like rejuvenated, like, oh, there's so many amazing people. So it's like I have stuff that I do online, and then I have stuff I can do in person too, and it keeps me connected.
I love that. Where in the world are you?
Oh, I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay, fantastic. One of my best friends is in
Yay!
Twin Cities areas.
Yeah, it's a great, great place.
And I know she's going to listen to this, so I'm excited to get the text message after that. Al got a shout out.
We're going to have to connect. She's going to have to connect with me.
Maybe she could come to one of your events.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. Or she's been bugging me to visit, and I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm like, well, maybe in summer, because I'm surely not coming back for the winter.
The fall. You should come in the fall. The fall is the best.
Is it?
Oh,
I feel like, where I'm from, which is Southeast Wisconsin, the fall is like 10 minutes. I feel like it goes summer, and then it's fall for 10 minutes, and if you miss it, you miss it, and then it's gray for months.
That's so funny. I don't know. The seasons and stuff are shifting. So I lived in San Diego for a while. I lived in Denver for a while. But since I've been back here for about 3 years now, and I feel like the winters have been a lot warmer, and fall has actually been a lot longer, where it kind of starts even in August. And then, but September was really, really warm this year. But then it'll sometimes go all the way through to November. Like it's been pretty amazing, actually.
It sounds nice. And I was in Northern California the last couple of years, and fall is incredible in like the Bay Area because it's actually long. The leaves change. People say there's no seasons. There's seasons, but
there is. Yes.
So I'm curious, you said you've raised over $500,000 for all of these nonprofits. How did you do that?
So I worked with a bunch of different nonprofits, and I do all their events. So I produce all the galas, and I'd find donors and sponsors and people that wanted to contribute to it. And then we'd put on these big events, and we'd invite awesome people, and then we'd share like what we're doing and raise a bunch of money.
Wow, that sounds super fun.
It was super fun. It was totally fun.
I might have to connect you with a past guest who does some pretty amazing galas in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah?
Profit. Yeah, potentially that could be a cool connection.
Oh my gosh, you should definitely connect me because I have a client right now who wants to do events. And so we're talking about how she can do that, and she's back in college to do that. She like completely shifted her major after some coaching that we did. It was pretty awesome. So she's super excited about doing events right now and a little nervous about the nonprofit side where you don't make so much. And so she's like, how can I really, do this? So we've been working on that.
Very cool. So with all of these different directions, I mean, you may know it may be evolving, but I'm curious if you know what your purpose is.
My purpose is definitely to inspire people's genius, period. Like it shows different ways. Like I don't think purpose is like this specific thing. Like it has to be this or it has to be that. And it's this thread that has gone throughout my whole life through, with Honduras, with events, with small businesses and working one-on-one. It's like for me, it's really supporting who people really are and like getting them really clear on who they are and like having those really tough conversations and like, let's do this, shaking them a little.
Sometimes people need that.
Yeah, We all do.
I love that you went from someone who is afraid to say I love you to someone you were with from 3 years to someone who is helping people figure out who they are and shaking them when they need it.
Yeah.
That self-love thing can be really hard.
Yeah. It was always in me. It was always there. I didn't know it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you start down this path of transformation, what you really find out about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm curious, on this journey, what is the scariest thing you've ever done?
There's so many different things that seem really scary, and then it's like, oh, that was like no big deal. Or now I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that was easy. I think the first time I did a speaking engagement as a coach, that scared the shit out of me.
I love how candidly you can speak about it.
And I have all the tools to help me, like, really with the NLP stuff to help calm and get clear. And I even called my coach and I was like, I'm freaking out. Like, my heart is going crazy. Like, I'm excited about it, but I'm just like, I can't, like, just calm down. Like, it was like, I was really like, ah. And then of course, once it started, it was amazing. It was a small group of people and we all really connected. And ever since then, I'm like, oh, this is easy.
And they say that more people are afraid of public speaking than they are of actually dying. So
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
It is. That makes sense. So when you were feeling that fear, how did you push past?
So there's a couple different NLP tricks, like these whole processes, which is really like a lot of visualizing. So there's this really cool one I can tell you really quick what it is. So it's not specific like to the T, but so there's this one where you basically imagine you're this person that you admire. So in this position, I imagined that I was Tony Robbins, right?
Okay.
So like with all his knowledge and with all his like jumping on the stage and getting excited. And so first you visualize this person doing their thing. Like, so first I'm visualizing him doing his stuff.
Right.
And then I visualize him like doing all his learnings, like reading books and, listening to tapes, and he's learning. And then I slip myself into his body and I'm doing the learning, and then I'm on stage. So it's kind of like this, it's a couple of different parts and pieces. So I did that one and that really helped. Okay,
awesome. Did you have the same potty mouth as Tony Robbins once you started speaking?
I kind of do sometimes. I think I already said a swear word on this podcast, so I kind of do a little bit, not quite as much. Yeah. Right. But he is, that's how he got his start, is NLP.
Okay.
So that's his background. That's what he does. That's how he coaches with people.
Okay, cool. How does it work working with a coach, and how would you go about finding one if you are looking for one?
I would just go to jennerlinden.com and
I found one for you.
You're like, you didn't even get, you're like, wait, that's weird. Okay.
For a second, I was like, maybe she has a resource for people to. Then I was like, I see what she's doing.
Oh, Jenner.
Still early in California.
Yeah,
actually, not really.
Yeah. So honestly, I would, when you're looking for a coach, I want you make sure that it's someone you really connect with. You like what they're doing. You like who they are. You have great conversations with them. Make sure you do a free, consultation with them to begin with.
Sure.
And have that really conversation, like, how are they going to help you? And what have they already done? And how are they going to get to the next level? And make sure that they have these clear steps in place is really important. There's a lot of coaches out there right now. I mean, there just is. There's so many. And it's really, you really got to listen to your own intuition. Like, does this feel right? And I have a friend I actually just talked to yesterday, and she said that she hired someone and she was a couple $1,000s a month, and she had a book and she had all these things, and they worked together, and she didn't get anything from it. She's like, I already knew all of that stuff. So it didn't align. But that's why you got to have those conversations, and you got to do your research, and you got to make sure that they are actually doing what they say they're doing. And they have the credentials, right? There's a lot of people that just say, oh yeah, I did this one, 2-week coaching program and now I'm a coach. Make sure they're listing stuff on their site. And they say, this is what I've done. This is who I am. This is how I can help you. It's important.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I'm glad
Yeah.
that you called that out. It's funny because everyone that's listening is probably tired of hearing me talk about how I'm a personal development junkie. And it's just starting to get into the coaching part. It's prior been taking online courses, books, webinars, podcasts. And my husband is in the medical profession. And so he is always like, well, what's their credentials? What have they done? Where did they learn how to do this? They just say they're a coach somewhere, or like,
Right.
and
Totally.
then sometimes they do. And sometimes that's still really effective for them. Like the person that we were talking about most recently was Brendan Burchard, and he's definitely got a great resume, but I was like, I don't know if he's studied anywhere or has any sort of formal certification, but he gives them out now. So
oh my gosh, I know, right?
But yeah, it's hilarious that, but I think the times are sort of changing where not in the medical profession, but in a lot of professions, you don't need necessarily a degree in a certain thing or any sort of certifications to show that you know what you're doing and can successfully help people or can successfully do whatever it is you're set out to do.
Yeah, it's true too. I've been on this path for 11 years now. I'm 41 years old. I started when I was like 30. So I've been, I've read so many books and I've done so many seminars and I've had so many coaches and
Sure.
I've been doing this a long time. So honestly, I probably don't really need a coaching certification, so to speak, because of all the stuff that I've done.
Right.
But I also have all that experience behind me as well. And there's a lot of people that get really excited and they see like Amy Porterfield and they're like, I'm going to create a webinar. And they're like, they did like one, book that they read about like how bitches make money or something. And they're like,
I'm going to show you too. I mean, sometimes you really do just have to be one step ahead of the person you're trying to lead. And I guess having read that book could still make it valuable, but there are definitely people who might have the cart before the horse.
There is a book that's called something like that. That's why I thought of it, but I'm like, okay, it's not that. But it's something. I wish I remember the name of it. Okay.
I've read Get Rich Lucky Bitch, if that's what you're meaning.
No, that's not it. But yeah, there's like really sexy titles like that now, right?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. So funny.
Yes, I love it. So speaking of books, do you have any that you actually do recommend?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So there's so many, but when you offered me this question, I was thinking like way back to the very beginning. And one of my favorite books one of my first ones that I started reading was The Success Principles from Jack Canfield. Okay. I feel like he's like this older dude that's kind of balding and
I don't think he's balding, but he's very white haired. I actually met him last summer. I have a signed copy of that book that I've not read yet. So I need
That's awesome. Yeah. But I think he kind of gets lost in the shuffle of all these new amazing women entrepreneurs that are out there and helping people. And I just want to bring it back to old school Jack because he knows what he's doing. Like he has some amazing, amazing things that he does. And honestly, a lot of people that are out there, even me, are learned from him. Like he's one of the, Napoleon Hill. He learned from all that.
OG personal development group.
Yep, totally. All of that. So and he came out with a new edition too.
I think that's the one that I have because he was promoting it at an event that I was at, and that's
cool.
Yeah. So, any others aside from that one?
So that would be my personal favorite for business, and then there's another one that I really love, and then kind of helped me on my path with relationship, which is now I'm going to butcher it because I didn't write it down, but it's like 7 weeks. I can't think of it now. Shoot, it's like 7 weeks to. Everybody's holding on.
Epic.
It's like to finding the love of your life or finding your soulmate, and it's from Catherine Woodard Thomas. I'll tell you that.
Okay, so even if you don't have it exactly correct, I'll make sure we figure it out and put it in the show notes so that people who are hanging on your every word and want to know what this book is, especially since you have the author, it'll be easy to figure out later. We'll put it in the show notes. But tell us about the book.
Okay, so 7 weeks.
7 Weeks to Something by Catherine Woodard Thomas. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll have it in the show notes. What is it? What do you like about it? What's the book?
Well, it's funny because it is about finding your soulmate, but it's not, to me, the title's kind of cheesy, but it's really not about that. It's really more about going inward and clearing out all the stuff that's getting in your way of finding love or even self-love, having that relationship with yourself. And I've actually told a lot of married friends about it. Like, this would be a great book for you to get really clear on. And it's not really like going out to the clubs and finding your man or anything like that. It's more about going inward and, really getting clear on what you want and who you are. And it's a really amazing, amazing book. Yeah.
Awesome. I was going to say, I can't imagine Catherine Woodard Thomas. That doesn't sound like someone who would tell you how to go out to the clubs.
Yeah.
I was going to ask when you started recommending that, just based on the title, if it would be something you would recommend to a married person, because I do feel like, for the exact reasons that you said, that, a lot of times books that are meant to help people find a partner could still help you be a better partner or be happier with who you are. And I think this will be the second, either the first or second, depending on what order these end up in. But I'm quoting RuPaul again, that if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anyone else? So,
oh my gosh, so true. So true. Yes.
I never imagined that I would someday have a podcast where I'd quote RuPaul regularly, but here we are.
Here we are.
So, book recommendations are great, and you've given other recommendations as well. Do you have any advice or life lessons that you've learned along the way that you would like to impart on our listeners or viewers?
Yeah. What's the famous quote? I can't think of it now, but the one thing that really comes to mind is do it before you're ready. I think a lot of times we try to make everything really perfect. And quite honestly, I'm speaking to myself because I'm a creative person and I love design and I'm really great. I like to make things perfect before I get it out there. Mm-hmm. But the thing is the world is actually waiting for you. They're waiting for you to get out there and shine your gift. So stop trying to make things perfect and get out there and do it.
I think you're speaking to me directly. I never knew how much astrology mattered, but apparently I'm a Virgo, and the descriptions are correct in that I'm a perfectionist and a little bit of a control freak at times.
Yep, I'm a Virgo too. Yep. So I'm speaking to myself, and that's why I know we do that.
Whenever I post a motivational quote on Instagram, half the time I'm like, and this is a reminder to myself as well.
Right.
So that's perfect.
Yeah.
Where can people, I know you inserted it as a joke earlier when I asked how to find a coach, but if someone is interested in finding you and what you do specifically, where are you online, on social media, etc.?
Yeah, so I'm at jennerlinden.com, JennerLinden.com. Mm-hmm. And then also on Instagram, Facebook, at Jenner Linden. Yeah.
And is that a Facebook business page or?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure that people will be heading there to check you out.
Yeah.
Saving my favorite question for last. This is a question I've asked people at parties before I had a podcast, and now I love formally sharing people's answers with other people. But if 8-year-old Jenner, don't worry, she didn't have to say anything on her own, but if 8-year-old Jenner could look into a crystal ball and see 41-year-old Jenner now and all the things that you've done, the things that you're doing, on a scale of 1 to 11, how excited would she be to see where you are?
I got chills up my arm.
I love
it. 11. She'd be like, no way I'm doing that.
That's awesome.
She'd be really excited and really happy and really proud. So.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you and little Jenner, and happy and proud too, because you can just tell that you have such a positive energy and that you're really enjoying what you're doing and probably doing a great job at it. So thank you for what you bring into the world. Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And thank you so much for coming on and dealing with all of the crazy communication issues we had and everything and making it finally work. So I really appreciate your time and what you shared with everyone today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for listening, and I hope I get to chat with y'all soon.
Yay! Hopefully that little chat has left you inspired or at the very least entertained. And please subscribe so that you can be further inspired and set into action by the challenge that Jenner has for us coming up this Friday. If you want to check out an amazing freebie that Jenner has to offer, please check out the show notes at www.mandiem.com/episode 111, because again, this is the 111th episode. At that website, you can also find the show notes, which tells you about where you can find Jenner if you're interested in her services or learning more about her and what she does. And you can find the video, all sorts of resources. I just highly recommend going and checking out those show notes. All right, as I said, please subscribe. Stay tuned for Friday's episode. Please share this with anyone who you think will find it interesting or helpful. I want to reach as many people as possible and help them get closer to their dreams. So you sharing it will help that. What else will help that will be you leaving a positive review on iTunes, because that will tell other people that this is worth listening to. All right, thank you so much again. Ready for Friday? I know I am. And as always, be bold and have a sparkly day. Bye-bye.